Hi friends, this is welcome to easyias. Today's current affairs on the date of 25th September 2021 for UPSC and all PCS newspaper analysis. Okay, so India-US ties about democratic values diversity. Biden to Modi. So this is India-US ties. Okay, India-US ties. So this time area of trade will be tremendously important this decade. Area of trade. So trade, India and the US, they are giving most of priority for trading issues. Okay, so that is the reason he said. Okay, the relationship between India and US is destined to be stronger, closer and tighter. Destined to be stronger, closer and tighter. US President Joe Biden said during his meeting with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House Friday that the partnership is about a shared responsibility to uphold democratic values and their joint commitment of diversity. So he said that at the White House Friday that the partnership is about a shared responsibility to uphold democratic values and their joint commitment to diversity. Pointing out the Mahatma Gandhi's birth anniversary will be marked next week, the US President said his message of non-violence, respect, tolerance matters today maybe more than ever. Modi, who spoke after Biden at the Oval Office, said the next decade will be a transformative period. So next decade will be transformative period in India and US relations and refer to democratic values, etc. Okay, so etc. Traditions to which both countries are committed and said the importance of these traditions will only increase further. This was the first in-person meeting between the two leaders after Biden assumed office in January, although they had spoken thrice on telephone and participated in 3 virtual summits together. So he participated in 3 virtual summits. On Friday, they also took part in the first in-person Quad Leaders Summit at the White House, along with Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison and Japan's Yoshida Suga. During his meeting with Modi, Biden stressed on COVID, climate change and Quad as 3 topics of discussion. Modi spoke about tradition, talent and technology, trade and trust issues. That is, he said that during his meeting with Modi, Biden stressed on COVID, climate change and Quad as 3 topics of discussion. That is, Modi spoke about tradition, talent, technology, trade and trusteeship. They spoke for about 20 minutes and then had a meeting for about an hour or so. I think that the relationship between India and the United States, the largest democracies in the world, is destined to be stronger, closer and tighter, and I believe it can benefit the whole next week. We are all reminded that his message of non-violence, respect, tolerance and matters today maybe more than ever, the US President said. Modi later tweeted that he had an outstanding meeting with Biden. His leadership on critical global issues is commendable. We discussed how India and the US will further scale up cooperation in different spheres and work together to overcome key challenges like COVID and climate change, Modi said. Biden said they are launching a new chapter in the history of India-US ties. What is that? Taking on some of the toughest challenges we face together, starting with a shared commitment, etc. Apart from COVID and climate change, he said they will be talking about what more they can do to ensure stability in the Indo-Pacific, including with their partners. Outlining a decade-long vision of bilateral ties, Modi said, I find that under your leadership, the seeds have been sown for Indo-US relations to expand, to be played by this talent of the Indian Americans. I found that I find that the people to people and talent will play together a role, and Indian talent will be a full partner in this relationship, and I see that your contribution is going to be very important in this, he said. Speaking about technology, Modi said the most important driving force in the world today would be that of technology, and technology that is going to be for the service and for the use of humanity. I find that the opportunities for this are going to be tremendous. India and the US have been partners in the defense, security, and nuclear sector. So this is important. What is that? India and US have been partners in defense, security, and nuclear sectors. Okay, defense, security, and nuclear sectors. So the PM also touched upon the issue of trade, which has been a challenge between the two countries, and spoke about its complementary nature. Between India and the United States, the trade will continue to assume importance, and we find that the trade between our two countries is actually complementary. There are things that we have, and then we in fact complement each other. But I find that the area of trade during this decade is also going to be tremendously important, he said. Referring to climate change, an issue of priority for the Biden-Harris administration, Modi said, you just mentioned that on the 2nd of October we will be celebrating the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi always used to talk about the principle of trusteeship of the planet. It means that the planet that we have to be include it the following generations, and the sentiment of trusteeship is going to assume more and more importance globally, but also being between the relations between India and the United States. Biden also spoke about Vice President Harris' Indian origins and her mother being a scientist, while Modi said he had looked for Biden's ancestors in India and brought some papers about them. The meeting was attended among others by U.S. Secretary of State Attorney Blinken, NSA Jake Sullivan. So this is not important. This is the Quad leaders. Meanwhile, Biden said this is a grouping of democratic partners who share a world view and have a common vision for the future and are coming together to take key challenges. Our vaccine initiative is on track to produce an additional 1 billion doses of vaccine in India to boost global supply, Biden said. Modi said Quad has decided to move forward with positive thinking and a positive approach and play the role of a force for global good, etc. So this is the article about India and US. So next article is about government signs deal with Airbus for 56 military transport aircraft. So aircraft deal estimated to 20,000 crore rupees. Deliveries start in 2 years. So India Friday signed a contract estimated to be worth of 20,000 crore rupees with Airbus Defence and Space to procure 56 C-295 military transport aircraft. The new aircraft will replace the IAF's VRO 748 planes. The first 16 of these will be delivered in flyaway condition from Spain between the next 2 and 4 years. The remaining 40 will be manufactured by Tata Advanced System along with Airbus in India. These deliveries will begin from the 4th or 5th year from now and end by the 10th year. This is India's first airspace program in the private sector. The Cabinet Committee on Security approved the deal, which has been in the works for a decade, earliest this month. On Friday, besides the deal, the Defence Ministry signed an offset contract with Airbus. As part of this, company will discharge its offset obligations through direct purchase of eligible products and services from Indian offset partners. While officials have been tight-lipped about the deal, sources say it is estimated at over 20,000 crore rupees. The program will involve a development of a complete industrial ecosystem from manufacturing, assembly and test to delivery and life cycle maintenance. All the aircraft will be equipped with an indigenous electronic warfare suite and handed over in a transport configuration. The government has called this a big step towards modernization of the IAF transport fleet. Sukaran Singh, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Tata Advanced Systems Limited, told reporters that the company, along with Airbus, has considered more than 100 sites to set up the production facility. A final call in consultation with all stakeholders, including the local residents, is yet to be taken. Okay, then next is that President and Airbus South Asia said the project is much more ambitious than a mere technology transfer, as it is aimed at manufacturing the aircraft in the country. He said this will place India on the global map to manufacture such aircraft. His colleague Jean Bryce Dumont, Executive Vice President and Military Aircraft, said there is a real export potential from these facilities. But the priority is to honor the commitment to the Air Force. He said that the emergency, he said that the engines for the 40 aircraft manufactured in India will have to be imported. But he added that the technology transfer to make engines within the country is just a matter of time. According to Airbus, that C-295 has a proven capability of operating from short or an unprepared all strips and can be used for practical transportation of up to 71 troops or 50 paratroopers. It can also be deployed for logistics operations to locations inaccessible to heavier aircraft. It can airdrop parachutes and loads and also be used for casualty of medical evaluation. It can perform special missions as well as disaster response and maintain patrol duties, etc. So this is next article. Next newspaper analysis is that PM meets Australian Japanese counterparts. So PM Narendra Modi held separate bilateral meetings with his Japanese counterpart Yoshihide Suga and Australian counterpart Scott Morrison, during which they discussed a wide range of issues from maritime security to low emissions technology partnership. After the meeting, Morrison said that just come from a meeting with which one of my Quad partners, Prime Minister Modi, a dear friend and great friend of Australia. We have been working together for some years now. Today, at our meeting, we were able to agree on some important new initiatives. At our meeting today, we agreed to go forward with a low emissions technology partnership, a partnership that will focus on hydrogen development, ultra low cost solar programs to support their energy transition, he said. India currently has the world's fastest growing solar energy program and has expanded access to clean cooking fuel to cover over 80 million households, making it one of the largest clean energy drives globally. One of the key points Morrison said they continue to make about addressing climate change is to ensure that there is a technology transfer from developed to developing economies. If we want to address the climate change, we need to address the change that is necessary in developing economies, so they can grow their economies, build their industries, make the things the world needs. And to do that, you need an energy economy that supports those objectives. And so we will work together closely with our good friends in India to work with the comparative advantages that Australia has, particularly in the area of hydrogen, he said. During a meeting between Modi and Suga, both leaders reaffirmed the importance of maritime security towards the realization of a free and open Indo-Pacific, as they shared a strong opposition to the economic cooperation, economic coercion and unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force in the East and South China Seas, the Japanese Foreign Ministry said. The two prime ministers reviewed the bilateral relationship and exchanged views on recent global developments, including Afghanistan. They agreed to enhance bilateral security and defense cooperation, including in the area of defense equipment and technologies, according to a statement issued by the IMEA. Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Singla, briefing the media on the meeting, said that it was their first in-person meeting. the issue of China as a very major global player did come up, and this is one of the many issues that were discussed. He said when asked whether China came up during the meeting, that the two leaders concurred that they would continue to cooperate in tackling COVID-19 as well as in the security field. Okay, so this is about the Australia and Japanese, India's relation with Australia and Japanese relations.